What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuning in to B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And we've got another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, why is this edition so special?
Because Jon Hamm is calling in.
Oh my gosh, we are so glad to have you. Welcome, Jon Hamm.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited to be talking to you. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I love what you do. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you. So I also just wanted to say that I'm good friends with Randy and Jason Sklar.
Oh, really?
And they were really excited that I was interviewing you.
That's very cool. Yeah, they grew up in my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, and we actually grew up in the kind of the same neighborhood. We're about the same age, so we would have known each other for a lot longer, but we really only met in LA. It's funny. I was just talking to them over text because I'm in the middle of shooting a movie in Detroit, Michigan, and they went to school at the University of Michigan, and I happened to be up in Ann Arbor for just for the day, and I asked them what I should do, and they told me all the cool places to go check out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my family and I have tickets to the live virtual Dumb People Town show. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Dumb People Town?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It is, yeah. So my first question for you is who or what inspired you to start acting?
Well, I went to school in St. Louis, Missouri. I went to a fairly small private high school called John Burroughs, and I did a lot of things. I did sports. I played football and baseball. I was encouraged to kind of try everything. So I don't know if I could point to one person other than maybe like a group of people. So like my teachers there were incredibly inspiring and really instilled in me a sense of excitement about learning and excitement about exploring and finding new things and being creative and doing, making the best with what you have. It's like, take advantage of what you have and then go for it. And so that was kind of what I learned growing up from 7th through 12th grade. It was just that there are opportunities everywhere if you keep your eyes open. Bless you.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So you played Don Draper in Mad Men, and that show and your character are so iconic, and you and the show received so much acclaim, and you also directed some of the episodes.
I did.
What was the best part of playing Don Draper?
Well, part of it was being able to play a character that not a lot of people had seen on TV before. It was sort of a new kind of anti-hero. We have them all the time now, but back in 2006 and 2007, when the show first came out, that was pretty rare. And so it was a risky kind of thing for television to do, especially basic cable television that didn't have the necessarily have the reach or the wherewithal or what have you. So that was exciting. And really the most exciting part was to get to play a character over the course of 92 episodes in about 8.5 years, to really kind of go along that journey, that narrative journey with that character. And Matt Weiner and our writing staff were up to the challenge of telling that story.
Oh, cool. So what was the biggest challenge of both acting and directing?
It is a lot of work. I always used to say it's not like being a coal miner. It's not like it's not that kind of hard work, but it takes a lot of focus and attention. and it's kind of relentless. The hours are very long. The emotional component can be difficult sometimes, and directing is has its own set of challenges, especially when you're in the thing that you're directing. That kind of creates an out-of-body experience that you have to manage in some way, shape, or form. And again, it's a lot of time. The time commitment is significant, and it's kind of like doing a Rubik's Cube every day. It's never fails to be completely challenging in every way.
So Tag is one of my favorite movies.
Thank you.
And I've seen it about 1 million times, and every time I watch it, I'm crying from laughing. My sister and I we watched it for our 16th birthday. I was wondering, did you ever have to do multiple takes of scenes because you would break character laughing?
Because we would laugh so much. We cracked ourselves up quite a bit on that one. We got a lot of funny guys in the room there with Ed Helms and Jake Johnson and Hannibal Buress. That's a lot of funny in one room. So we really did have a good time making it. And part of what was so fun making it was the fact that we knew that, it was really based on a true story, that these guys, some of whom we met actually over the course of shooting, were real people. And it was it's such a fun and funny idea that these grown men still play this little kids game. And we had a really good time making that film.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we just watched it again last night because I woke up yesterday and I was like, okay, I'm interviewing Jon Hamm tomorrow. We have to watch Tag for the 100 millionth time. So
well, I'm glad you like it. And your sister likes it.
Thank you. Yeah. So you worked with Tina Fey on both 30 Rock and the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And both of those characters are so funny. And I love how in 30 Rock, your character is so unaware of the special treatment he gets. I was wondering what drew you to these projects.
Well, mostly it was getting the opportunity to work with Tina and Robert and everyone else on 30 Rock. 30 Rock came out like the year that Mad Men came out. So our shows kind of had this parallel existence, and theirs was really funny and ours was sort of dramatic. And we never were in competition with one another, but we always kind of saw each other, even though they shot in New York and we shot in LA. But I was just a huge fan of that show and remain a big fan of that show. And when they asked me to maybe be a part of it, I was like, of course, yes, I will definitely. I want to do that. And the same thing happened with Kimmy Schmidt when 30 Rock ended and Tina and Robert were talking about this next show that they're going to make. I was like, whoa, that's kind of a tricky subject matter to make funny. But then I knew that they would make it as absurd and funny as they could. And that's what ended up happening. And the funny story with that is that Ellie Kemper, who I had worked with previously on Bridesmaids, was a student of mine when I was a teacher back in St. Louis. So it was also really nice to get to be in scenes with her. And then when we got to do the interactive special that's on Netflix now, that was really fun too, to kind of put a period to the end of that sentence of telling that story. It was very cool.
Oh, cool. So you've been in so many different things. Is there a character you've played that you felt the most connected to?
Well, probably Don Draper, just because of the amount of time I spent working on that. That was, like I said, the better part of a decade, 8.5, 9 years, something like that. And yeah, that's a lot of time to play one person. And by the end of that period of time, you pretty much know the character inside and out. And I felt like that was definitely the case by the end of the show. And it was a wonderful experience. It was, not only was it the sort of seminal moment in my career, but it was also received so well and won awards and all the other stuff that you can't really control. But it was a pretty exciting period of time for me as an actor, and to get to do that. Just so few people in our business get to do that. So I was very grateful that it happened to me.
Cool. Yeah. So is there a line from a book or movie that's had a big impact on your life?
Oh, geez. One line. I don't know if I can think of one line kind of on the spot, but there are certainly movies that I really enjoy watching. And I remember watching as a kid and thinking, oh, maybe I could do something like that. And, whether it's To Kill a Mockingbird and watching Gregory Peck, or The Graduate and watching Dustin Hoffman, and even all the way up through when I was a young boy and a teenager, all the Star Wars movies and the Indiana Jones movies, and thinking maybe I could be like Harrison Ford and do that kind of stuff. And I've had an opportunity to do a lot of that stuff. I'm almost 50 years old, so it's like, it's a big number. I got a few years on you. But it's exciting to kind of look back and see, like, okay, like I got to host Saturday Night Live, and I got to do these cool movies with very cool people. I'm beeping, sorry. And those are things that, like I said, like, not a lot of people get to do. So I don't really have one line or one movie that I could point to, but it's more of an appreciation of all of that stuff that makes me happy to do what I do.
Cool. So if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
I don't know, like the Darth Vader's theme from Star Wars. I don't know. Hey Ya by Outkast. There's a lot of ways to go with that. I'm not sure. But that's a good question. I'll have to think about that one. Get my entrance music correct. What would yours be?
I don't know. There's a lot. I'm blanking on everything right now. Like, I've been listening to pretty much the whole Spring Awakening soundtrack on since March. So maybe a song from that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
You'll have to get Jonathan Groff on here to talk about Spring Awakening.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually interviewed Steven Sater, the creator of the music, a while ago, and so we talked all about Spring Awakening, and it was Chris. Eventually, he was like, "Okay, so like, let's wrap this up," because it was like an hour.
Oh boy, that's cool though.
Yeah. So. Have you discovered any new talents or hobbies during quarantine?
Oh, no. I wish. I have a lot of friends who are like, yeah, I learned how to play guitar during the pandemic and quarantine. And I was like, oh, I cook a lot. That's about it. Spend a lot of money online. It's been an interesting time, as I'm sure you can attest to as well, because there's so much uncertainty, and it's so unprecedented that it can be easy to kind of just succumb to inertia, and you're sort of like the days blend into one another. But I guess my thing, like, I've realized over the course of this that I try to stay as positive as I can, and be really grateful for what what I do have and what part of like life that hasn't changed. So you accentuate the positive part instead of really worrying about, well, there's no end in sight to this, and what are we going to do, and what are we going to do? And I'm just like, well, we're going to do what we do. And I voted, as you can see on my little shirt there. And you just focus on the positive, and you stay in that way. I've been able to stay sane, I guess. Maybe that's my hidden talent, being positive.
Yeah. Yeah, my sister and I we were very excited because this year is the first year we could vote. So we were so excited because we were like, there needs to be a change.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfectly good reason right there. Get out and vote.
Yeah. Yeah. But with all of quarantine, I've just been kind of freaking out all these 6 months that this has been going on. And my mom has just kept telling me, she was like, you need to calm down.
It's hard. It's hard because it's, you don't have anything to judge it against. You can't think like, oh, well, this is just like XYZ, because it's not like anything. So it's really difficult, but there is, there's a lot of value in that positivity and thinking, okay, well, this isn't forever. This will pass, and then we'll figure it out, and the sun's going to rise tomorrow, and we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say one thing that has been I've kind of been calming my anxiety down with thinking of is I'm going to interview Jon Hamm.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm happy to contribute in that respect.
So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero, and why?
Well, I think we've certainly seen examples of it in over the course of the last 6 months, when you've seen all the frontline workers and all the first responders and all the people that have put their own physical safety, not to mention their mental health, and in dealing with all of this for very little, reward. I think that when you look at what they've done, and I've got a few friends and family members that work on the front lines, whether it's in trauma units in the ER or law enforcement or firefighting, what have you. There's a lot of responsibility that they have. And I think that all of those people who put their lives on the line for us to keep us safe and to keep us healthy, I think are just so impressive. I mean, I'm sure you've had your experiences with your doctors and nurses and the people who've brought about your situation and how your recovery has gone. And it's impressive because it's selfless. And I think that that's really a lesson that we can all learn, if anything, from this, that maybe a little selflessness is better than selfishness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm still I still haven't processed that this is actually happening right now.
That's so sweet. Well, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it. It's really nice. It's nice to connect with you, and it's nice to share whatever nonsense I have to share.
Yeah, well, thank you.
It didn't sound like nonsense to us, and we were glad to share it and hear it here at Children's Hospital Colorado. And just know that if you're ever in Colorado, swing on by. I'm sure there's plenty of kids that would love to meet you. Jon, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.